Hey Matt, Chris Cameron from the outfield. Following the Colorado match, Coach Nick Cushing mentioned the lack of intensity in terms of both offensively and defensively. In the last two matches, you guys have really taken an onslaught from Philly and Toronto while maintaining that one-goal lead late. Can you speak to the intensity the team has really reached the last two matches and what's going to be needed on Saturday to get a result?
Yeah, I mean the last two games, as you mentioned, were close contests, and Saturday, tomorrow's not going to be any different. It's two good teams going up against each other. It's going to be an intense battle. Games against Red Bull always are tough games from a physical intensity standpoint, and the fact that it's our rival only adds to that. So part of our challenge for tomorrow is bringing that intensity, and when we bring it and when we set the tone of intensity ourselves, that's when we're at our best.
Mohammed with the exchange round. So last week we had a almost last minute goal with the offsides. How does that feel, or how do you come back from that to continue the match?
Against
Philly.
Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew it was offsides, right away. So we honestly didn't really pay too much attention to it. You obviously sigh a breath of relief that the refs did a good job in that moment, because they did. But it didn't faze us really.
George from the Exchange. This is your first derby, if I'm not mistaken, right? First time.
No, actually, had last year. I think my third game starting was the derby as well.
Both teams playing as good as they are right now. How much bigger is this one than the others?
I don't know. I don't want to say it's any bigger. It's another game. It's another rivalry game, and I think the moment when you focus too much on place in the places on the table, and too focused on how well we're both playing, that's kind of when you lose it and lose the right mentality. It's another game for us to go out there and be the best version of ourselves.
So Matt, in years past, this rivalry's really been pushed by the players and by some of the ego versus ego of it. From your perspective, is this more of a professional rivalry, or is there something to this, like you want to go out there and really beat Red Bull?
I mean, definitely I want to go out there and beat Red Bull. I think it's it's a really unique rivalry. Any rivalry within New York is going to be a big one. It's a huge market. There's so many fans, so many amazing fans on our side, and whatever we can do to make them proud is our job, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
Michael Allen.
Yeah, Michael Allen, Pro Soccer. Matt, you've come off two big road wins. How much does that mean coming into a derby like this at home? And also, was there any sort of special gratification beating Philly at home?
I think in regards to your first question, yeah, it always helps to go into a game like this confident, but I believe they're on the same, they're in the same situation. They just had a big win against DC, so I'm not trying to think too much about the, previous few games and really just focusing on tomorrow. And then, for your second question, no, I mean, I wanted to take that as a normal game for myself. I'm always happy to win, regardless of who the opponent is.
Alec.
Hey Matt, Alec Kossoff, Fiber Footy. I wanted to kind of follow up a little bit on what Michael was just asking. Obviously, you had a very big game in Philly, as well as Andres Perea, who had a very big game in Philly. And I wanted to know if you guys had any type of conversation before you go out there. Obviously, coming from Philly, having more formative years for you over there. What did it mean to kind of play there again? I know your family was there as well.
Yeah, I mean, meant a lot to be in that game. It's, there's those, I would say weird or, unique situations that players sometimes find themselves in, and being back there for Andres and I, being able to play against against that team. It was a good opportunity. I'm really happy for Andres. He absolutely killed it, and ultimately created the first goal that we had, and across the entire game had a really good game. So I'm really proud of him. Really happy for him.
Michael?
Matt, Mike Andrew from Blue City Radio. Thanks for the time. I want to go back to Toronto for a moment. Obviously, after the match, you guys demonstrated a willingness to fight for each other. But there was a moment in that game when it seemed like Owusu put a hand onto you late. And I wasn't in the stadium, so I couldn't see, but it didn't seem from the broadcast that any of your teammates had your back as far as putting a message to him that that type of cheap shot wouldn't be tolerated. As a guy who's growing into that leadership role with some newer players joining the team, is that something you feel has to be discussed?
I don't know. On one end, you also it shows very good self-control and restraint from those guys. I think what you're talking about is the one in the beginning of the game, or the first half, and everyone has an entire 50 to 60 minutes to go after that. Unnecessary yellow cards is something you want to avoid, and in my eyes, Thiago has done an absolutely amazing job leading this team. It's a role that I think was somewhat new for him. He's always been a leader, obviously, but he's grown into an incredible captain. I'll follow him wherever he goes. So he's done a really great job, and Burke, Jimmy, the other guys that you're talking about being in and around there, they're fierce competitors, and just like Thiago, I'll follow them and I'll back them, and really happy to have them on my team and supporting me.
Matt?
Hi, Matt Ketchell, 442 magazine. We've come up from Europe to watch the game tomorrow, and I'm just interested in what this means to the fan base. Do you have many interactions with the fans day to day, week to week, and do they emphasise how important this particular fixture is to them, and do you translate that to your teammates if that ever happens?
Yeah, I think the whole organization knows that this is a big game. The coolest thing about the fan interaction side of it, I would say, is my first one last year. I was new to the team, and I think it was going to be, like I said earlier, my third or fourth start of the year. And the fans came outside to our training facility. They're sitting outside the gate, probably 50 to 100 of them, with banners and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. Shows how much the rivalry means, as well as just shows how much they have our back. So, yeah.
Javier?
Hey Matt, it's Javier from City Boys. You've had save after save. Every game seems to have a highlight reel. Is this the best you've ever felt in your career?
I don't know. I think it's tough to compare it to other parts of my career, because this is the first time I've been playing. So I think on a relative basis, I think it's a tough question to answer. But I will say, I think just being able to be comfortable and be myself out there is, that's when I'm at my best. And Rob's done a really good job helping me get there, and Nick's done a really good job getting me there as well. And the rest of the goalkeeping group, as well as the rest of the back line, the rest of the team has been very supportive, and that's ultimately what's driving me every day.
Chris?
Hey Matt, Chris Campbell from the outfield. I know the relationship and communication between keeper and center backs are crucial. Just curious if you can kind of talk towards how that relationship is continuing to develop with Thiago and Burke in the back line, and communicating in those key moments.
Yeah, well, if you can hear my voice is a little bit gone. That's from the Philly game. Just being as loud as we can, as communicative as we can, developing relationships off and on the field, and and also knowing, I think when you break up chemistry, everyone says chemistry, but there's different components of it. Learning what type of support each other needs, learning tactically where each of us want to be, and what type of service to each other is the best, and learning each other's strengths and weaknesses. And thankfully, the two guys in front of me don't really have any weaknesses. And so, when it comes to building that chemistry and communication, I think we've come a long way, and we're going to continue to work on it.
It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.